Conor can't dominate this fight, it's going to say, Conor, you ain't what we thought you were. Because as you know, Dre, most of the guys from the UK, they have to come prove themselves in the United States of America or against a good American fighter.
This game is a lot harder than, the game gets harder. Yeah. And you when you don't have them legs and them lower extremities and they not working right, because of age, because of tough fights, you put yourself in position to get hit a lot. And Conor Benn,
Ryan Garcia is a hell of a puncher. He's very explosive. Dangerous hook. Very dangerous. Everybody know that hook doesn't knock a buffalo out.
According to Roy Jones Jr., Conor Benn might be setting himself up for a major problem if he agrees to step into the ring with Ryan Garcia. This potential matchup has already started sparking intense discussion among fight fans, largely due to the fact that each fighter possesses explosive hand speed, relentless forward pressure, and a real ability to end the night early.
Great eyesight, he has great reaction time, he's gonna be a great fighter. He just gotta figure out how to use them.
According to Roy Jones Jr., Ryan Garcia is the type of opponent you can never afford to underestimate, not even for a split second. And that's precisely why a potential showdown with Conor Benn carries so much risk. Benn prefers to push forward and exchange punches head-on. That approach tends to work well against a lot of opponents. However, when facing Garcia, just a single slip-up can end very badly. Roy knows that Ryan only needs a handful of opportunities to deliver a devastating blow. So if Conor rushes in with too much aggression, he might actually hand Garcia the exact kind of battle he thrives in. For that reason, Roy is convinced that Benn could be walking into a huge error by accepting this fight.
Probably throw a hook more like mine anybody seen. Yeah. He got that one-punch shock on that left hook. Deadly, and then he understands how to throw it. So yeah, that's where he is.
In other news, Pound for Pound recently reported that Dana White stated an official announcement for the Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia matchup is expected shortly. This update has already generated plenty of buzz among fans, largely because the bout presents serious risks for both competitors. On one side, Ryan relies on his quickness, precise timing, and a devastating hook with his left hand. On the other, Benn brings non-stop pressure, raw aggression, and a fighting approach that tends to deliver excitement no matter the opponent. If this showdown actually comes together, it has the potential to become one of the most discussed events on the entire boxing calendar. When asked directly about Garcia facing Benn, here's what Dana White had to say. He confirmed that negotiations are actively underway and hinted that a formal reveal could happen in the near future. That response immediately grabbed people's attention, mainly because this is exactly the kind of matchup that appeals to both dedicated boxing purists and more casual sports fans. Garcia offers elite speed and a real knockout danger, while Benn counters with relentless forward movement and an aggressive mindset. So, should this bout receive official confirmation, it could easily turn into a massive pay-per-view style attraction.
Our position and philosophy is that any fight can be made. I mean, this is the business that we're in. I mean, even the guys that are and crying and complaining and everything else, they run a business. They're involved in this sport to make money, and there are very small windows of opportunity. And when something happens that builds a fight, you have to capture that fight right there at the time and in the moment. So I don't believe that any deals can't get done.
Meanwhile, Ryan Garcia has made it clear he's been calling for Conor Benn. In a recent post, Garcia wrote, "Conor, do you actually believe you're going to stop me? You couldn't even put away Regis Prograis when he was past his prime. If Prograis had been in his younger days, he probably would have taken you out yourself. Stupid." Benn quickly shot back saying, "You stayed quiet after the Eubank fight. That tells everyone what kind of person you are. I'll knock your block off, Ryan Garcia." Garcia then responded with just 4 words, "Think real hard why." From that point on, the hostility between the two only intensified. What began as typical fight promotion quickly turned into something much more personal, with each man trying to dig under the other's skin. Benn sounds like he's aiming to send a message, but Garcia is responding as if he already knows something the public hasn't figured out yet. If this bout does get officially announced in the near future, expect the lead-up to become even more explosive. But Conor Benn has stayed firm in his belief that he can defeat Ryan Garcia should the fight happen next. Following his recent victory over Regis Prograis, Benn accepted Garcia's challenge and stated his interest in competing for the WBC welterweight title. Reports suggest an official reveal could be coming soon. Benn is speaking with serious confidence, even mentioning that he'd love to finish Garcia early. However, Garcia has clapped back with his own sharp words. And that tension is exactly what makes this potential matchup so compelling. Benn delivers relentless pressure, raw toughness, and a no-fear approach, while Ryan counters with elite speed, sharp timing, and that devastating left hook. For Benn, getting his hand raised against Garcia wouldn't be just another victory. It would represent the single biggest achievement of his professional run and a real opportunity to show he deserves a spot among welterweight's best.
You've been very warmly welcomed by everyone here in Bournemouth. No days off, building towards something big.
Yeah, no, we're always working, but Bournemouth is beautiful. I've been here a few times with my family, but the work don't stop. And when you come around by the beach side, it's beautiful, isn't it?
All right.
It's like Santa Monica, a bit better though.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot to compare between the two. What about the big fights that are on the horizon for you? We're not there yet, but everything feels like it's building momentum with Zufar, and there's some big fights potentially on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, I've made no secret in fighting for the WBC World Title. It's the belt obviously my dad won, and you know, it'd be a dream for me to get that belt. I mean, the other person's doing a lot of talking, you know, as he does, so, you know, just hopefully he signs the contract.
How many rounds do you reckon it will take you to knock out Ryan Garcia?
I'm liking these questions, you know. How many rounds? I've got a lot to prove in this fight. Not just to everyone else, but to myself. You know, the 10 years ago, me as a kid who first turned over to be in the position I'm in now, where I can solidify my own legacy and prove the irrelevant of all the noise, irrelevant of all the haters, irrelevant of all the no's you can't do. I'm going to go into this fight fueled with a chip on my shoulder to prove to the world that I will be the greatest WBC champion. So, you know, for me, to answer your question, I'm going to come out fast and put it on him and hopefully get him out there early, within 4.
And what are you looking forward for the left hook?
What am I looking for? They said don't hook with a hooker. It's exactly what I'm going to.
Recently, Ryan Garcia spoke honestly about a potential showdown with Conor Benn and made it known that this is a bout he genuinely wants to happen. According to Garcia, his team is actively working to put the pieces in place and push the deal across the finish line. However, he also acknowledged that several backup plans exist should the agreement fall through. Garcia mentioned Rolly Romero as one possible alternative, though the way he spoke made it obvious that Benn is the opponent who currently has his full focus. What adds an extra layer of personal tension is that Garcia still hasn't forgotten an old run-in where Benn approached him at a live event while Garcia was accompanied by his wife. Ryan viewed the encounter as completely unnecessary and lacking professionalism, and that memory appears to have stuck with him. So from Garcia's perspective, this potential matchup carries more than just career implications. There is also a genuine personal grudge fueling it.
That is being worked on. You know, me and my team, we're trying to, you know, finalize it and make it happen. It's a fight that I really want. But there's also other options, you know. So if it doesn't get done, you know, we're also looking at Rolly Romero and other, you know, opponents that we can fight. But that fight I would love to make happen. I want that one bad. He's been a little too long. He actually came and confronted me at an event while I was with my wife, and it was just crazy. Recently? About 1.5 years ago, and I still remember that. It's like, bro, we're all in suits. Calm down. What are you doing? Like, be professional, buddy. This is like, it reminded me of the movie Southpaw, you know, when he gets confronted and then she ends up getting shot. Like, bro, you need to chill. But yeah, I would love to make that.
Garcia also shared his genuine thoughts on Conor Benn as a boxer. He acknowledged that Benn has skill and delivers an exciting show every time he competes. However, Garcia also noted that Benn tends to be overly aggressive and occasionally lacks control. In Garcia's view, while that approach might thrill audiences, it also tends to leave gaps that a precise power puncher can exploit. He believes that if the two meet in the ring, he'll be able to demonstrate that different levels of ability exist within the sport. Garcia also expressed his frustration with boxing's behind-the-scenes politics, explaining that even when a champion and a top challenger both want to square off, the business side of the sport can still drag things out. Nevertheless, despite those obstacles, Garcia made it clear he remains willing to move forward and get the fight done.
Make of him as a fighter?
I think he's a good fighter. He's too aggressive. A little too aggressive.
How so?
He's a little reckless in the ring. But I do think that he has a lot of tenacity and he makes for a good fight, an entertaining fight every time he steps in the ring. But I will show him that there's definitely levels to this. And
Is he 145?
I mean, he's number one, so he's my mandatory.
Right.
So,
but there's so many politics and so much red tape in boxing that the number one contender and the number one title holder somehow can't make a fight work.
You're right.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes, man.
Dude, boxing's so complex.
It's so complex.
That said, Conor has been very direct about wanting Garcia to be his next opponent. And now, Dana White appears equally interested in putting that matchup together. Ben delivered a straightforward message. Garcia can have the fight next. That kind of declaration proves he has no interest in wasting time or picking an easy route. He's chasing a high-profile name. And Ryan represents exactly the kind of challenger who brings attention, real danger, and significant buzz. Dana's reaction only added more intrigue, as he essentially stated that this is precisely why he's in the sport, to arrange the fights that fans genuinely want to see. With Ben pushing hard and Dana sounding willing to get things moving, this matchup suddenly feels far more likely to happen.
You can get it.
That's who you are. I have no doubt about it. But I asked a very direct question. This is first thing. He don't know me that well yet. Who do you want? Like, who's the guy?
Garcia.
Yeah, that's all I want to hear. That's all I want to hear, Dana. That's what I was asking about. What about you, Dana? What do you?
I agree with everything he said. That's why I'm in the business right now, is to make the fights that people want to see.
Why did you decide to go for boxing?
You look at what they've done with UFC. Look what they've done with WWE. They plan on taking over, and we all share the same vision. It's a different audience, massive platform. And something I'm really excited about. It wasn't an easy decision, but I've made the right decision.
However, there's more to this story. Conor Benn just issued a cold and threatening message directed at Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. Garcia, I want my belt. Keep my belt warm. September, let's go. Any day of the week, twice on Sundays. 10 rounds easy. Garcia, you're next. Keep my belt warm.
Elsewhere, Eddie Hearn offered his unfiltered perspective on this potential matchup, approaching it strictly from a business standpoint. In Hearn's view, the bout might not be a huge draw within the United States, given that Conor Benn hasn't yet established himself as a major name in that market. Ryan Garcia already carries significant star power in America, backed by a massive following and mainstream visibility, whereas Benn's strongest fan base remains concentrated in the UK. That's why Hearn believes this contest would generate substantially more buzz on British soil than it would on the American side. Even so, the matchup still commands considerable attention due to the fact that both men bring drama, self-belief, and high-risk fighting styles to the table. Garcia offers elite hand speed and fight-ending power, while Ben counters with relentless pressure and raw aggression. So, regardless of Hearn's questions about its size in the US, this bout still possesses enough intensity to keep the conversation going among fight fans.
When Ryan Garcia seems like it's going to be announced, what do you make of that fight? And is there any sort of thing going on in the background with yourselves and Conor Benn?
Yeah, there's still a lot of legal questions that need answering, and we'll deal with that appropriately. But in terms of that fight, I think it's a good fight. I don't think it's a big fight in America. I think it's a big fight in the UK. Obviously, Ryan's a big star in America. Conor's not. Ryan's a bigger star in the UK than Conor is in America, and Conor's a big star in the UK. So, yeah, I don't think it's a fight that's going to do massive numbers, but I like the fight. I think it's exciting. I think at 147, Ryan's a big fight. I don't think Conor should be fighting at 147. I think, I like him up at 160 or up towards that weight class, but I don't see a way he beats Ryan Garcia.
Over on the other side, Derek Chisora recently ran into Ryan Garcia, and their discussion quickly shifted toward Conor Benn. When Ben's name came up, Garcia didn't hold anything back, making it very clear that he hasn't forgotten the bad blood between them. With both competitors already trading words online, that face-to-face moment only added more fuel to the ever-growing fire. Ben has been speaking with total certainty, stating that he wants Garcia next, and even expressing a desire to finish him early. But Garcia is replying like someone who genuinely thinks Ben is stepping into a situation he doesn't fully grasp. Garcia recognizes that Ben brings aggression and durability, yet he also believes that kind of approach could play directly into his own strengths. Now that Dana White has hinted that an official announcement could arrive soon, every remark coming from either side is drawing more and more attention. If this bout becomes legally signed, the lead-up might end up being just as thrilling as the actual showdown inside the ring.
Guess who I'm with? Hey, we're looking for you. I got you. Don't worry. September 12th on my future.
And Conor Benn responded to that clip by posting on social media, "Looking for me? You're the only one who hasn't put pen to paper, you coward. Ryan Garcia." That reply turned up the heat even more, because Ben is now placing the responsibility directly onto Ryan's shoulders. From Ben's perspective, he's implying that the deal is essentially finished on his end, and that Garcia is the one causing the delay. Ryan has been speaking confidently online, but Ben's message suggests the Real Challenge isn't about words on the internet. It's about signing the agreement. With both athletes firing off personal jabs, the pre-fight tension is beginning to feel very real. In the meantime, Ryan Garcia has been looking impressive on the training mitts while preparing for his expected comeback fight against Conor Benn in September. His quickness remains intact. His accuracy appears sharp. And that left hand is already shaping up to be a serious threat. Given all the back-and-forth insults between Ryan and Ben, fans are now closely monitoring every practice clip that surfaces. Ben keeps promising relentless pressure and physical punishment, but Garcia seems determined to prove that just one well-placed punch can completely flip the outcome of the fight. Conor Benn has also been putting in serious preparation as discussions about a matchup with Ryan Garcia keep gaining momentum. In recently released workout clips, Ben was seen blasting heavy punches into the mitts, displaying the same relentless aggression and raw power that make him such a threat once the cage door closes. Ryan might possess the edge in hand speed and that devastating left hook, but Ben appears to be getting ready to apply constant forward pressure right from the first round. Should this bout become official, both competitors are already sending a loud message through their gym sessions alone. Conor Benn currently has his sights set on a potential WBC title showdown against Ryan Garcia, and that particular matchup is already drawing significant attention. Given all the verbal exchanges between the two, Ben clearly views Garcia as a major chance to make a bold statement and move himself closer to the upper tier of the division. Garcia offers the recognition, the quickness, and the knockout threat, whereas Ben counters with relentless force, punching power, and an approach that tends to turn fights into fireworks. However, Ben also understands that Garcia isn't the only high-profile opponent available to him. He recognizes that several other big names could be on the horizon as well, and a victory over Garcia might unlock the door to even larger opportunities down the line. For Ben, this goes beyond just a single bout. It's about demonstrating that he deserves a seat at the table during boxing's biggest discussions and proving to fans that he's ready to compete at the sport's highest level.
The priority, getting that Garcia fight done. But listen, I'm not short of options. You know, there's a lot of fighters calling me out, big names calling me out. So, you know, God willing, we get the Garcia fight done for the WBC world title. You know, I'm mandatory in the number one position for that belt, and I've worked extremely hard to get to that position. But again, if Ryan don't want it, then, you know, there's plenty of fish.
Max Kellerman also shared his perspective on this potential bout, and he framed it as a high-risk situation for Ben. In Kellerman's assessment, Ryan might not be the most well-rounded boxer out there, but he possesses the kind of hand speed, precise timing, and fight-ending pop that can severely punish someone who fights aggressively. Conor Benn prefers to march forward, unload hard punches, and turn the contest into a gritty battle. Yet that approach often leaves gaps in his defense. When facing a competitor like Garcia, just a single misstep can flip the entire outcome. That's precisely why Kellerman considers this a perilous matchup for Benn, because Ryan doesn't need to control every round to come out on top. He only needs one clean opening to land something devastating.
I just said, Ryan Garcia would be a minus 350 favorite, Conor Benn would be plus 250. When you add it all up, it's about a 3-to-1 type fight, Mike. The odds makers are saying that Ryan is 75% likely to win the fight, more or less. Who would you be putting your money on with those odds?
With those odds, I'm putting my money on Conor Benn.
One thing that makes this fight so good to me is because what they both have in common is this: the better the opposition, the better they take the mission serious. The better the opposition, the more they both...
The prospective showdown between Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn is drawing attention because it carries risk from every angle. Garcia brings quickness, precise shot selection, and that devastating left hook, whereas Benn brings relentless pressure, raw aggression, and a fighting approach capable of turning any contest into a slugfest. That contrast is exactly what makes this matchup so compelling. Both men can damage each other in very different ways. Benn would likely attempt to close the gap and force Garcia into close-range exchanges. However, that strategy could also place him directly in the line of fire for Ryan's most dangerous punches. Should this bout actually take place, the outcome won't hinge solely on knockout power. It will come down to who keeps their composure and fights smarter when the pressure is at its highest.
I love this fight. I think people are being way too harsh on Conor Benn, like we said on the show last week. He fought a very tough style in Regis Prograis, who, yes, is at the end of his career, but nonetheless a crafty southpaw who knows how to handle himself, who likes to scrap. So Conor Benn, I think like we say, right, it's a cliche, but win this time, look good next time. And I think Conor Benn will look a lot better against Ryan Garcia. I know Ryan's the favorite, but if the fight does get finalized, all I know is it's going to be a great promotion with two guys who are among the best talkers in boxing, and they are both action fighters who can punch.
Make sure to check out our other videos on the channel for more boxing breakdowns, fight news, and the latest updates on this developing story.